I've received two extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. The relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of, and we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth, Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack. In the meantime, I want you to stay close, stay awake, but more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and the machine has now mobilized against yet another person. This time it is Russell Brand, with the familiar combing through of somebody's history and looking for anyone who could possibly help craft the narrative that they want to create. Make no mistake about it, Russell Brand does have a checkered past in terms of his interactions with women. This is something that he has already acknowledged publicly, and it isn't new news. What is new news is the fact that the mainstream media now wants to make sure that they destroy his budding career. Why? Well, because he's over the target, quite frankly. I know a lot of people might think, oh, that's kind of a weird thing to say, but it's just true. Each and every time we have one of these, 100 million people from, your past suddenly have remembered these terrible things that happened, it's always the same thing. He has spoken out very vocally against Big Pharma. He has talked about certain questions around the election process. He has stood tall against a lot of the establishment, including mainstream media. And then coincidentally, a massive amount of previously anonymous women come forward with harrowing tales. And I can tell you this, through my investigations, not a single one of them ever went to the police. Not a single one. So do I believe that it is possible that things happened? Of course. But I will tell you, I always treat situations like this from men or women when they first come out on social media as a lie, first off. Because in far too many cases, that has been the case. It's a lie, and it ends up destroying somebody's life, which is exactly what they're trying to do, Russell Brand. But I will show you exactly how the disingenuous framing of all this stuff is a pathetic self-owned by the mainstream media. Hey, this video will almost certainly get the yellow mark of sadness from YouTube. So I just want to remind you that I own a coffee company. We actually roast our own beans. We pack and ship our own beans. We're not some drop ship organization. We just rolled out our fall flavors, which are both absolutely delicious, both pumpkin pie and our spiked jack-o'-lantern, available in whole bean and ground. Promo code UNDERATTACK will save 15% off. We have over 20 different coffees, all available in whole bean and ground, flavored, unflavored, decaf. We have K-Cups. We have delicious premium snacks, nuts and candies. We have a dozen organic teas. We've got something for everybody. So if you want to support the channel and support our reporting, please check out coffeebrandcoffee.com. Link in the description. Promo code UNDERATTACK to save 15% off today. So in a very obviously coordinated manner, about 20 major news outlets all published different versions of the same story, with headlines like Russell Brand allegedly did this horrible thing to a woman just 5 months after Katy Perry divorce was finalized. So what they're saying is after he was single. And again, it's just a claim. Obviously, I'm saying, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But when the first claim you see is in the news or on social media, it is my personal policy to demand more information. At least follow up with a visit to the police station, because if you aren't willing to do at least that, then what you are trying to do is get social media clout or ruin someone's life. Regret is not the R word, right? This expose published by the Sunday Times, they already had a documentary ready to go, said, you know, I'm stuck underneath. I'm not going to go through this. He's a lot taller than me. He had that glazed look in his eye. You know, this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. He used to, you know, do drugs and things of this nature, and used to be a pretty promiscuous guy. But I don't know. You know, another person who went by the name of Alice made a wild claim about him as well. You know, I think, interestingly, his response has been, I received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from the mainstream media TV company and one from a newspaper, listing a litany of egregious and aggressive attacks he shared in a video message on Instagram. Amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious claims that I absolutely refute. The Forgetting Sarah Marshall star did not say what the claims were, but noted that he had a promiscuous past and said that all of those relationships were absolutely always consensual. Well, yeah, I assume he's a super famous Hollywood star, although, you know, Cosby is a thing and all of this kind of things. You know, 4 women, including 2 who were just 16, make claims after an investigation by the Sunday Times. Except there have been several women who have come out to basically say, well, actually, no, that's not exactly what happened at all. So first, a lot of people are pointing to some text messages that came out. This is a thread by Suleiman Ahmed, who's an investigative journalist. The first woman who claimed this thing happened to her have presented the following as evidence. She asserts he apologized, but the nature of the apology isn't what it is claimed to be by the Times, i.e., going against her will. It's evident that the apology is related to him not using a rubber during their encounter. She also mentioned getting tested for any potential consequences due to not using protection. In this scenario, not using protection is equated to taking someone against their will. It is not clear whether they used them every time in their seemingly numerous encounters. Whether stealthing is the same as the R word is extremely contentious, but of course, feminists seek to weaponize any kind of encounter. Well, stealthing is not okay. You know, I obviously understand that, but it seems like, you know, when you read these texts, they also seem weirdly edited to me. You know, it's also the exact same accusation used against Julian Assange by accusers. Coincidence, I'm sure. This case highlights the consequence of the MeToo movement, the redefinition of crimes to include anything and everything, trivializing the actual terrible crimes. Initially, the claims that Brand took her against a wall in Los Angeles home. She was treated at a crisis center on the same day. Then later in the article, it is clear that she was in a consensual relationship with him. I mean, it's really odd to see all this stuff. You know, Rachel's story. I was a TV worker and Russell Brand flashed me and asked to hook up. And then we did anyway. I don't get it. So he flashed you and asked you to hook up, and then you hooked up with him. How is that a story? How is this a story? You know what I'm saying? How is this a story? Now, there are some interesting stuff. You see Russell Brand TV execs allegedly consider removing female staffers so They wouldn't be subjected to his behavior. Again, another allegation, and all from 10 plus years ago, when he was at a time in his life where he was a little out of control. While Brand's sinister conduct was an open secret in the entertainment industry, he continued to be afforded opportunities by UK broadcasters, including Channel 4. He appeared on a celebrity edition of Bake Off and the channel, and baked biscuits inspired by the junk of his wife, Laura Gallagher. Days after the expose was published, Brand took to the stage in London's Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre on Saturday. I've got a lot to talk to you about. There are obviously some things I cannot talk about. I appreciate you understand. Blah, 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 blah. Now, his performance came as police in England urged other potential people on the receiving end to come forward against, and agent Travis Stack Wood fired him, the outlet reported. So his agent fired him. I don't really think that's a big deal. It's current year. You don't really need agents. Brand has denied the allegations in an online video released Saturday before the report was even published. Well, that was smart. He obviously knew that was going to happen. And here's a perfect example. You see, woman provides evidence that the mainstream media contacted her about Russell Brand's hit piece. She mentioned that when she shared a positive account of her encounter with Brand, they failed to include her story. She confirmed that Brand was indeed kind to her and everything between them was consensual. However, her account didn't align with the mainstream media narrative, so was excluded from the documentary and article. This is one of many individuals who were contacted among the hundreds.
I actually know who this is about, and I have the receipts. I was contacted in June by a journalist regarding a video I made about a certain celebrity and a weekend that we shared together. The video is kind of viral. It's on my page somewhere if you want to go see it. And that certain somebody was, as most of you will be aware, Mr. Brand. They weren't going to use my story because it didn't fit the narrative for their documentary, because he wasn't an asshole to me. But here are some of the messages. Obviously,
you see, I hope you don't mind me contacting you here. My name is blah, blah, blah. I'm a journalist at the New York Times. We're working on a project in collaboration with Channel 4. And having seen a post on your TikTok from a few months ago, had wondered if it was able to help us. It's fairly sensitive, so if you had a few minutes, it would be great to have a chat on the phone. They always want it on the phone, so they don't have any record of it.
I will take out the person's name. Shouldn't
have taken it down. For instance, we are worried about our messages being shared more widely. It's why it's much easier for us to speak on the phone, and it helps build up trust and reassurance. Isn't that interesting? This is what I'm talking about. The journalist, quote unquote, is reaching out and asking for dirt on Russell Brand, but refuses to do it on the record because they don't want to get caught, because they don't want to get sued, because they are absolutely working on a smear piece. Now, in my experience covering this kind of thing, there's usually some kernel of truth in it. Russell Brand, in his particular case, he has long admitted this kernel of truth, saying that he had a promiscuous past, and he used to be addicted to things and things of that. They're trying to use that he had hooked up with someone who was 16, which to me sounds gross. However, the age of consent in the UK is 16, so there's nothing illegal about that. Although gross, in my opinion, not illegal. I don't know how old he was at the time, but there are plenty of other examples. You could see Russell Brand and the Channel 4 hit piece debunked. Also, Channel 4 Times, Russell hit piece, right and left-wing British media unite to smear alternative voices. Russell Brand is a well-known alternative media personality. He doesn't follow or propagate the mainstream narrative. An axis of MSM has colluded to destroy his reputation because he poses an existential threat to them, which I agree. When he led a hedonistic lifestyle, mainstream media promoted and broadcast his stereotypically liberal behavior. At the time, they had no issue. But decades later, after he left that lifestyle and agitated MSM, both right and left-wing branches have manufactured weak allegations out of his past to try and take him out. They did the same with Andrew Tate, and they will do the same again. The irony is the liberal leftist society promotes hedonism And then when the time is right, that very behavior, use that to cancel the person. Welcome to 2023. They contacted hundreds of people in order to find dirt on Russell Brand. This is, again, via Suleiman Ahmed. Probably worth a follow. Simply to put an article, and Dispatch's documentary was a result of years of digging up any woman that would give the MSM the story they wanted. They frankly admit they scrutinized Brand's books. You see, over the course of the investigation, a team of journalists contacted hundreds of people. I mean, are you kidding me? Here's a video featuring a woman confirming that Brand was indeed kind to her and they didn't use her story. For some reason, according to their argument, Brand exhibits a pattern of where all these women admit they were already in a relationship with him. Why this bizarre pattern of exclusively taking advantage of women he's already having a consensual relationship exists, that's odd. I mean, this is absolutely wild. Again, do I agree with his behavior beforehand? No, but there doesn't seem to be any new claims here or any real reason other than he's over the target, he's going after mainstream media, and that's why they're trying to take him down. Best of luck to you, Russell Brand. Hopefully, I know you're on Rumble, so your platform will be safe there, and hopefully you counter sue and go after these people who are trying to ruin your life.